Hello, I'm Will MESLIN, a student at Upper Canada College in Toronto. Upper Canada College is pleased to team up with St. Bonaventure's College of St. John's, Newfoundland, Hantsport Elementary in Nova Scotia, and York House School in Vancouver to honor 4 of the nearly 100 Canadian recipients of the Victoria Cross. Valor, sacrifice, bravery, courage, heroism, gallantry. These are some of the words you'll hear from us, because the Victoria Cross is the highest award for bravery that a British or Commonwealth soldier can receive. Upper Canada College has the honor of holding 2 original Victoria Crosses in its archival collection. Allow me to share a bit of background about this important award. The Victoria Cross was created in the 1850s during the Crimean War. News coverage at the time described the extraordinary bravery of the British soldiers. There was widespread feeling that more should be done to honor the soldiers' courage and sacrifice. At the opening of Parliament in 1854, Queen Victoria expressed admiration and gratitude to the soldiers of her unconquerable army. A royal warrant was issued to create a new award for conspicuous bravery, regardless of rank, length of service, or injuries sustained in battle. The original idea was that the award would read, "For extreme bravery." However, the Queen deemed that anyone who served was brave, and so the inscription on the award became "For Valor." The Victoria Cross became a reality in 1856, with awards being given retroactively to 1854. The bronze used for the medals is cut from cannons captured from the Russians during the Crimean War. Deliberately intended to have little monetary value, the medal's true value lies in what it represents and what people do to earn it. The first Victoria Cross was presented in 1857, when 62 medals were bestowed by Queen Victoria before a cheering crowd of thousands. Since then, 1,358 Victoria Crosses have been awarded worldwide. 81 Victoria Crosses have been awarded to members of the Canadian military, from the South African War right up until the end of the Second World War. Another 13 awards were made to men born in Canada and serving in British military units. In 1993, Canada's very own Victoria Cross was also created, although it has not yet been awarded.
I'm Richard Sutton, and I'm also a student at Upper Canada College. I'd like to tell you a bit about Lieutenant Alexander Roberts Dunn, recognized as the first Canadian to receive the British Victoria Cross. Alexander Roberts Dunn was born in York, Ontario in 1833. He was the son of John Henry Dunn, the Receiver General of Upper Canada at the time. Dunn attended Upper Canada College at its original location in Russell Square in downtown Toronto until 1844, when his family returned to England. Dunn completed his studies in London, and in 1852 he purchased a commission as a second cornet, essentially a second lieutenant, in the British Cavalry Regiment. He joined the 11th Prince Albert's Own Hussars. He was just 19 years old. 2 years later, by then a lieutenant in command of F Troop, Dunn sailed with his regiment for Crimea on the Black Sea in Eastern Europe. On October 25, 1854, Lieutenant Dunn and his men took part in the bloody charge of the Light Brigade at the Battle of Balaclava. His brigade was cut to pieces as it charged a valley while trying to capture Russian guns at the far end. From a group of 670, about 300 of his soldiers were either killed, injured, or captured. Lieutenant Dunn was deemed heroic after charging and killing 2 or 3 Russian lancers who were threatening a sergeant's life. In doing so, Dunn lost his own horse and limped to safety on foot. Then, he killed another Russian who was attacking a Hussar private. Our hero sold his military commission in 1855. But in 1858, he was appointed major in a regiment, and 3 years later, Dunn took command of the entire regiment. His men were intensely proud of their youthful commanding officer. Major Dunn was only 28. Dunn's heroism in the charge of the Light Brigade, and details about how he earned his Victoria Cross, were described in the London Gazette in February 1857. In 1864, Dunn transferred to the 33rd Regiment of Foot and was promoted to the rank of colonel, becoming the first Canadian to command a British regiment and the youngest colonel in the British Army. Dunn's medal set, including his Victoria Cross, were gifted to Upper Canada College in 1898.
We would now like to share with you The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. This poem illustrates the famous battle in which Alexander Dunn demonstrated great courage.
Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the light brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600.
Forward the light brigade, was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. Theirs not to make reply, theirs not to reason why, theirs but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600.
Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them. Volleyed and thundered, stormed out with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600.
Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabering the gunners there, charging an army, while all the world wondered.
Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600.
Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell.
They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600.
When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the light brigade. Noble 600.
Hello, my name is Cameron.
And I'm Eloise, and we're from York House School, Vancouver, British Columbia.
Our school is proud to honor a fellow British Columbian, Lieutenant Robert Hampton Gray.
Robert Hampton Gray was a Canadian naval officer, pilot, and recipient of the Victoria Cross during World War II. He was one of only 2 members of the Royal Navy's Air Fleet to be decorated in that war.
He was also one of 12 soldiers to be immortalized by a bronze statue in the capital city of Ottawa, Ontario. This statue can be found near the National War Memorial.
Lieutenant Gray defied fear and exemplified courage on his acts of bravery on August 9, 1945, as America dropped the second atomic bomb on Japan. He was ordered to lead his squadron on an attack on the ships in Onagawa Bay, and he was flying a Corsair fighter bomber.
He made a low-level bombing on a suspected Japanese destroyer when his Corsair was hit by flak and caught fire. This caused one of the bombs on board to drop. However, with the remaining bomb, he was able to get a perfect hit on the Japanese destroyer. The ship sunk. However, the Corsair rolled onto the starboard side and plunged into the water. He nor his plane were recovered afterwards.
His actions earned him the honor of being the last Canadian given the Victoria Cross. The Victoria Cross is an award given to British Commonwealth Armed Services after acts of bravery.
A memorial service was held in 2006 honoring Gray's acts of bravery. A memorial was also placed at Onagawa Bay, just meters away from where his plane crashed. He had the only memorial service dedicated to a foreign soldier on Japanese soil.
Hello, my name is Harper.
Hi, I'm Macy.
Together we are students at Hantsport Elementary School in Nova Scotia. We are sisters too.
We are here to tell you a very interesting story about a brave man from our town.
Mr. William Hall, winner of the Victoria Cross, the highest award for valor a Canadian soldier can achieve.
Valor means really, really brave.
Thanks, Macy.
This is where William Hall is laid to rest. He died when he was 77 years old. Sadly, he was first buried in an unmarked grave. His body was moved here 50 years after his death. It is hard to believe that a son of American slaves born near our little village would travel in British naval ships, win a Victoria Cross in India, return here to live the rest of his life as a farmer, and be buried within walking distance of our school. As an African Canadian, William Hall would have faced racism and probably did not receive the respect he deserved during his lifetime. William Hall received the Victoria Cross for his actions during the 1857 Indian Rebellion. Hall and a fellow officer from his ship continued to load and fire a 24-pounder gun after the rest of the party had been killed or injured. This saved the lives of many soldiers and civilians. William Hall lived a long time ago. It's hard to imagine what he went through, but we can try. He would probably not believe that we were thinking of him today. Please join us and take a moment to honor all veterans this Remembrance Day.
When the first shots in Serbia erupted, piercing the air and leading to the death of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, no one quite knew how many would follow. Not just the shots, the booms and blasts, the legions of soldiers and craters in the earth, the world on fire. With all this destruction to follow in World War I, it is certain no one knew how far these shots in Serbia would be heard. Newfoundland offered up more than 12,000 soldiers from a population of about 240,000. Many left for adventure, a sense of patriotism and duty. But for Tommy Ricketts of Middle Arm, White Bay, Newfoundland, he enlisted to escape from an abusive father and a difficult life. He left a boy of only 15, lying about his age, a student and a Newfoundland cadet, returning home as the most celebrated hero of the Newfoundland Regiment. On October 14, 1918, the 1st Battalion of the Newfoundland Regiment advanced from Legem, Belgium during the Battle of Port Ray. After crossing the Wolfton Beak River, the 1st Battalion was exposed to heavy fire and ear-splitting shelling that shook the ground. They found themselves at a standstill and with a choice. Tommy Ricketts and Lance Corporal Matthew Brazel were the only unwounded members of their platoon. Ricketts had distinguished himself as a part of a younger class of fishermen from Newfoundland that proved themselves to be sturdy, strong fighters on both land and sea. Moving forward as a group was not an option, so Ricketts and Brazel volunteered to continue. They carried with them a Lewis gun and the knowledge that it was 2 against many. They made short advances with caution and were left seemingly trapped as the enemy closed in. With little time and no ammunition, Ricketts once again selflessly volunteered and dashed back 100 yards under open machine gun fire. The enemy, seeing an opportunity, once again advanced forward, but Ricketts courageously drove them back with very accurate gunfire. For his bravery, the Victoria Cross would be awarded to Ricketts by King George V himself. Ricketts received the honor still 2 years young to be at the front. Still a boy, he returned home a hero. Tommy married and began raising a family, speaking little of the war in Europe that had taken his brother George in his youth. On Remembrance Day, Ricketts could not be found at a ceremony in his honor, or at the foot of a monument, but rather he would disappear for the day and go fly fishing. People did wonder why he left to be on his own, and told stories of his modesty and polite nature. Although this is true, perhaps Ricketts left for another reason. On Remembrance Day, he didn't want to remember. The tragedy, death, and sacrifice, no soldier came back the same. Whether wounded physically or mentally, Tommy Ricketts was not an exception. Ricketts would pass away in 1967. His funeral was attended by a large, dedicated group of friends, admirers, and family. Ricketts earned a name as a reluctant war hero whose great modesty and fierce bravery are legend. This splendid lad, as stated by King George V, lies in the Anglican Cemetery off Forest Road. On his tombstone engraved are some last words of advice. Fight the good fight.